Hi there, this is Pride Daily, kicking off a week of queer cheer, only upbeat stories from the year so far. The world's strongest gay is retiring. Rob Kearney from Massachusetts in America spent the last 15 years as an absolute ruddy powerhouse, lifting various ridiculously heavy items. The 32-year-old's gone out on a high at a competition in California, beating his own personal best for dragging a car. I can barely lift the shopping bags. He tells the Big Loz official channel why he's calling it a day.
I've been doing it for a long time, so there's a lot of miles on this body, and it's just starting to take its toll. And I think for me, I've always wanted to be at a spot where I step away while I still love the sport, and that's where I'm at now.
Rob's known for his very fetching rainbow beard, which replaced the rainbow mohawk he used to have. He came out publicly 10 years ago and married his husband Joey in 2019. Queer young people are getting significant support from their aunties. So says research from the American Sociological Association, which finds this can be emotional and practical help like housing. Talking about both aunts who are blood relatives and those who've chosen the role, it's thought they're not as hung up about a child's sexuality as parents might be and can offer more loving and consistent support. And Taiwanese drag queen Nymphia Wynn's being congratulated by the country's president, no less, for winning RuPaul's Drag Race. She's the first performer from East Asia to do it. President Tsai Ing-wen, who's a big queer ally, has told Nymphia, Taiwan thanks you for living fearlessly. And your occasional reminder, the best ever drag queen name is Wilma Fingerdoo. A campaign to restore the original bus from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, has raised around 170,000 Australian dollars. The film turns 30 this year. It's about drag performers travelling across the Aussie desert. No one actually knew where the bus was till it was found in New South Wales in 2019. The campaign's trying to raise $2.2 million all in. Guy Pearce is one of the stars of Priscilla. He tells GQ about catching people off guard in the rural areas the cast filmed in.
Certain townsfolk were prepped that a film was coming, but they didn't really know what it was. And the locals were told, okay, our main characters are going to sort of come walking down the street and you guys are going to watch. And you'd see these people just seeing these drag queens for the first time, country towns that had not seen anything like this before. And this is in '93 as well, you've got to remember. So there's some pretty great, honest reactions.
A gay dentist in America is donating 10% of his practice's profits to finding a cure for HIV. Robert McKernan runs Big Gay Smiles in Washington, D.C., and his work elsewhere sees him mainly treat patients living with the virus. As a Mormon, he was expected to hand over a tenth of his earnings to the church. They expelled him when he came out, but he's kept the 10% thing going to benefit HIV research organisations. And Kristen Stewart signed up to play the first out queer astronaut, Sally Ride. The star of Twilight, Love Lies Bleeding, and The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas is doing a TV series called The Challenger. Sally flew on the Challenger space shuttle in 1983, and she also became the first American woman to go into orbit and the youngest American. And you can find out more about her in one of our specials on LGBTQ plus Trailblazers. Just look up May 24th's Pride Daily. Oprah Winfrey's been given an award in the US for the decade she spent being an LGBTQ plus ally. The 70-year-old used a TV talk show to champion queer people between 1986 and 2011. She also dealt with disinformation about HIV and AIDS. Here's a bit of Oprah's acceptance speech as she receives the Vanguard Award from GLAAD, the LGBTQ plus advocacy group.
I wanted to create a safe space to bring the lives of the LGBTQ community front and center to our audience, to make it clear that every single person who comes to this planet deserves the right to love the person they want to love and be the person they most fully want to be.
I don't know what happened to our invites, but the first gay wedding's taken place in Greece. Stavros Gavriliadis and Dimitris Elefsiniotis have tied the knot in Athens. They've been together for 20 years and have 3 children. Greece legalised same-sex marriage and adoption last month, so the pair will now be formally recognised as their kids' parents. And let's finish up today with some queer chihuahuas. So, there's an Australian kids' cartoon you might have heard of called Bluey, about a puppy who goes on adventures. In the season finale, it's revealed one of the characters, a chihuahua called Pretzel, has got two mums. This is only mentioned in passing, not made a big deal of, and it's being praised for handling the subject so matter-of-factly. Muslim Pride's taken place for the first time in the UK. It's been organised by the charity Iman LGBTQI+, at Queen Mary University in London to celebrate queer Muslim culture, activism and history. The event was originally meant to happen in 2020, didn't though, cause COVID. It can be hard for Muslims to be openly queer for religious reasons, but Akbar Qasim Lakhar tells City News when his daughter Salima came out as gay, she was embraced by a close family.
We noticed that there was no change in her. She wasn't becoming less of a daughter or more of a renegade or something. She was a daughter, and if we accepted it, she brought back love to us.
Spain has its first out LGBTQ+ matador. Mario Alcalde says he's pansexual, he falls in love with the interior and doesn't care about gender. The 31-year-old from Madrid also works as a baggage handler at the city's airport. He hopes to make bullfighting more accepted by queer people who, he says, are all opposed to it. And Star Wars has got its first out transgender actor. New series The Acolytes just dropped, starring Abigail Thorne. The 31-year-old publicly came out in 2021. A philosophy channel on YouTube has more than 1.5 million subscribers. She also advocates for trans rights and healthcare in the UK. The US Women's Figure Skating Championship's been won by an out queer woman for the first time. Amber Glenn came out as bisexual and pansexual in 2019. She posed with the Progress Pride flag after accepting a gold medal. The 24-year-old had to withdraw from Olympic trials a couple of years ago because of COVID, and more recently she suffered a bad concussion after colliding with another skater. Amber tells the KOAA5 channel being a role model to her peers because of her sexuality gives her strength.
To hear that being a top athlete and being queer at the same time has made younger athletes feel like they're more accepted or like things are more possible and they don't have to hide who they are. It's the whole reason why I've kept going.
The rainbow pedestrian crossing and pathway have been upgraded in Sydney to incorporate the Progress Pride colours. The idea is to make the Australian city seem more supportive and inclusive. A chevron with black, brown, white, pink and blue stripes has been added, representing, amongst others, trans, non-binary and gender-diverse people. And a very gay TikToker's been asked if he's straight. Here's how the softest bunny responded.
Honey, I am straighter than a pair of chopsticks laying flat on a kitchen table. Honey, I am straighter than the posture of a military soldier. I have had several women in my life. Several, okay? And we've had so much, intercourse. We've had so much of it. Oh my God.
I'm Kev McGrath. We're back to normal with all your top LGBTQ+ news on Monday.